music sounds like a waterfall. So beautiful. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Good morning, beloveds.
Good morning.
Welcome to Harmony Spiritual Center. And thank you, welcome those of you who are watching us from Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us. In the Bible, Isaiah 6 and 8, God is looking for a job to be done. He's got a task. And he's wondering who can do it. And so he says, "Who shall I send?" And Isaiah says, "Here am I, Lord, send me." And what that is a surrender. That is what we mean when we say surrender. We are ready to do God's work, God's bidding. And that's what Isaiah is saying to God. I'm ready. Send me. So we meet once a month, as you know, you're bored. And Rebecca is our president, and she calls me or sends me an email and says, "Hey, PJ, you have anything for the board, for the agenda?" And I've been thinking about things all month, and I'll write some little notes down. And so flip this aside. And so I'll put that little list together, and I'll send it off to her. And then the board meeting will happen the next week. And we'll go down the agenda, and something will be on there, and it has my name on there. And I'm looking at her. She's looking at me like, "What are you looking at me for? You put it on there." And I'm like, I don't know what that was about. So let's just put WTF by anything that I don't recognize. And we'll just move forward. And we'll get to it later or just let it go. The same thing happens when David calls me and he says, "PJ, what's your titles?" He wants like four weeks worth of titles. And I thought, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I sit down, I think about some titles, send it off, sounds good. But the week, I started writing my talks on Monday. So tomorrow, I'll start writing my talk for Sunday. And I'm just thinking about it. Just thinking about what I might want to say, what's the point, and let some examples and some experience through the week inform the talk. So when Monday comes, and I look at that list, and I know what's coming, I do the same thing. What was I thinking? What is this about? And I say to God, George, as you guys know, that's what I call him, George, what is this about? What are we talking about tomorrow? He says, "Oh yeah, no problems. Here's what we're doing." And that is what surrender looks like. When you don't know what is going on, and you don't know what to do next, and you just say, "George, God, girlfriend," whatever you call that thing greater than ourselves, and say, "Help me, I'm ready, I surrender, you got this." And that's what we want to talk about today. So my talk title is "Send Me." And this is the point in our lives of surrender. And it happens again and again and again. It's not like you say one time, "I'm there, Lord, I'm ready to go." And every time something comes up, you're ready. You have to be in this place of surrender every time for you to be able to walk through and have God talk with you and tell you what's happening next and where you want to go, where it will lead you in a way that is wonderful for you and for everyone around you and for God. So I want to bring up 3 points. What is surrender? How do we surrender? And for God's sake, why? Why in the world? Why would we surrender? What is in fact surrender? Well, the definition is to have faith in God. To have faith in God and to follow that direction that you've asked for. That is what surrender is. What is faith? Faith is your history. It's not blind faith. You don't believe blindly. It is your history and your experience with God. So when we surrender and we have this experience and history, it results in 3 things: in having this loving relationship with God. Because everything I'm talking about every Sunday morning is always about what? You. It's about you. It's about me. It's always about me. I want to hear that. It's always about
me.
Exactly. This is about your relationship. I can stand here and tell you all about what I'm doing and how God is working in my life. It doesn't matter if you can't transform that relationship and transfer it to a relationship with you and God. That's what it's all about. That's all that matters. It's all about you. So this is about having a loving relationship with God. When you do that, you get to use the gifts that God has given you, because all of us have wonderful gifts from God. And it is about living a life of service using those gifts. That's what happens when we surrender. So, why would we surrender? What are the benefits of surrendering? Well, again in the Bible, in Isaiah 6:13, it says, "The holy seed of God is in the stumps." The holy seed of God is in the stumps. So what's a stump? I mean, what does that remind you of? That's just like something that's all the way down. It's just a stump. It's the only thing. It's what's left. It's what's remaining after the whole tree is gone. So it's where you find God when you have no place else to go. When you are ready to say, I don't know what is happening. This is the place of surrender where you will find God. This is not about where God is, right? Because God is where? Everywhere present. But this is the place where you will find God for yourself. At this place of surrender. That's why it's important to get there. It will help you with life's meaning and purpose, because this is what we're here for, to have some kind of meaning and purpose in our lives. Because when we surrender, we let it be easy. Life doesn't need to be this hard. I'm not saying you're not going to have problems. I'm not saying that people who surrender don't have issues that happen. We lose people. Things occur. There is sadness. But we let it be as easy as possible because we follow God and know that the perfect answer and solution, the most benevolent outcome, is always available to us when we do that. So that is a benefit of surrendering. There is peace in surrendering because God always knows, even when we don't. We're saying, I don't know what to do here. God knows. Don't worry, child. I got this. I got this for you. Don't you worry about a thing. I got it. And that's what God will say when you say, help me. And there is joy. There's joy in life. There's joy in using your gifts. There's joy of service. So we surrender because we want to let life be easy, living in the flow, knowing that everything always works out for us. So, as you all know, Jason and I lived overseas for 11 years, moved back to Marlin, Texas, in, where is that? It's a smaller town than Waco. And we moved back there in the summer of 2016. And then we bought a house in 2017. And then in 2018, we said we're done. 37 years of being together. We just didn't want to live together anymore. And we still love each other. We still talk. We still do a number of things, but we didn't want to. So he's moved to Montana. Got a beautiful 50-acre ranch where he just texted me and told me he killed a few rattlesnakes from the courts. I think, I'm so glad it's you and not me. And I moved to Dallas because my family is there. I have brothers, sisters, cousins, and all that, nieces, nephews. So when I moved, I didn't want to rent because I don't want to pay somebody else's mortgage, right? So I wanted to rent. I wanted to buy a condo. I don't want to cut grass either. So I wanted to buy a condo. I'm telling you, I had money. I had a loan already, because Jason was going to use this job. I already had money. The loan said, I already approved for the loan, and I put in a bid for 7 condos. I found 7 different condos, all of which fell through because they accepted a cash offer from someone out of state. 7 different condos. So I said, all right, so George, what's happening? What are you telling me? I'm going to just go, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm just go ahead and rent. Okay, I'll rent. Right after that, soon after I rented the place, Harmony called, my friends the Moores, and said, we are ready to retire. We need you to talk to Harmony and see if this is going to be a fit. Harmony? In Fort Worth? Okay. I see what happened there, God. So I came and talked with you guys. It was a beautiful fit, and so I'm here now. That's the reason why the condo didn't work out. So I'm here and traveling back. Well, know that I'm going to move. By the way, I have moved. I moved this week, and I'm here in Fort Worth. Thank you. So I'm looking for a place, and I'm coming back from someplace. I was with the Whitneys, and I was coming back, and I was big bemoaning. I can't find a place to live. Blah, blah. And they're like, are you kidding? Here, let's just drive up our street. And so here's a place here, here's a place here, here's a place here. couldn't find it, and I just spoke out, and there it is. That's the place. So I found that place. And then I found that home, and now the final move. It's beautiful. My rent, I didn't realize it, but I had moved in the middle of the month when I moved in. So I only need to pay half the month to move out, which means I had the extra money to move to this place. So I mean, I'm just telling you about how the flow was from the very beginning. Flow, flow, flow. That's what we're looking for. When we surrender and we talk with God. And I did. Before I came here, I asked, where am I going? Go up to Dallas with your family. Should I take the thing with Harmony? Is that what I want to do? This is where you're supposed to be right now. Yes, absolutely. Everything. I never make a move, even small ones, without talking to George. What are we doing? Because I know when I do that, it's going to be smooth. If it's just me, really, I'm going to be stumbling the entire way. With God, I'm floating. It's water. It's a waterfall. It floats. That's what life is like when you surrender to God. Surrender is this peace in knowing that no matter what life looks like, Spirit is there, no matter what. And we know that things happen. We have loss. And I had the opportunity to speak with one of our congregants who was just in the middle of a loss. And I had the opportunity to speak with them, to talk about where God is in this situation. And in the middle of that, they suffered another loss. And we talked about that and where God was in that situation. My point is simply this, is that there is peace. I'm able, because I know. When you know what you know. No one can take away what you know. I know George. I know God. And because I so firmly and authentically know when I talk to people, there is no doubt that God is with them as well. Because it's true. And they know the truth of what I'm speaking. That's what we get to do. We get to confer our peace on others. Do you understand? You walk in and take the peace with you. Take God with you. Shine that light wherever you go. When you know. So that's what we get to do. We get to know that God is everywhere present, not just with us, but with you and you and you and everyone that we run into. That's what we get to do. We get to use our gifts in service and experience joy. I am surrounded by joyful people. I am surrounded by joyful events. I went to a play, in my last play. I had season tickets to the Water Tower over at Addison. That's where I lived. So I went to the final play. Actually, I'm sorry, no, it wasn't the final play. It was an additional play that someone asked me if I want to go to. It was supposed to be 3 ladies. One of the ladies backed out. She ended up having some plans. She couldn't go. So 2 of us, you guys might know Kim Andrews. She's both spoken here. We decided we're going to go. So we said, and we didn't really know what the play was about, but it looked like it was going to be good. It was about a Muslim woman. It was called Unveiled. And so it was a one-woman play, a Muslim woman. She's going to tell her story. So we decided to have dinner before that. Great. So we had a wonderful evening before that. A great restaurant. The ambience was wonderful. The food was great. The wait staff, seriously, they had a 1 to 3 ratio of client to staff. So I couldn't even throw a napkin down without somebody sweeping off the table. And it was amazing. So we had a great time there. I had a glass of wine. Great. We walked into the play. The play was just a block away from where we were. So we get to the play. Honestly, awful. Awful play. But I had such a great time the entire evening. There is joy. I'm saying that not everything is wonderful, but joy is always there. Do you understand the difference between what is happiness and what is joy? Joy was in the evening, in the company that I kept, in the fact that in these wonderful people that I was around. It wasn't about the play. It was about the joy of the evening. So that's what we get to do. We get to use our gifts in service. We get to be surrounded by joy. Now, if this is the case and all these wonderful things are happening when we surrender, why do you think it is that we don't? What's so difficult about surrendering? That's a rhetorical question. I'm going to answer it. No need to shout out. Here's why. That's why. Because it's the John Wayne syndrome. We would rather shoot it out and die at the Alamo than surrender the white flag. That's how we see surrender. That's how we see surrender. But that's not what we're talking about. Surrendering to God is not a fight out at the OK Corral. It's not that. Okay? It is not that. Surrendering to God is about letting go of control. We want to believe that we need to have our hands on everything. That if we take our hands off the wheel of our lives, then it's going to go into a ditch somewhere. We got to know what's going to happen next. What's the plan? I can't tell you how many times people ask, what's the plan? The plan? Okay, let's do this. You create a plan, and I'll show up for it. How about that? Because I know that any plan I create is going to go awry anyway. Doesn't matter, right? But that's how God laughs. So there's no reason to worry about a plan. But we always think we need to know what a plan is, what's going to happen next, how many steps are there. That's not how a spirit walk works. It doesn't. Leap and the net will appear. Yeah? Isn't that correct? Leap and the net will appear. There was a Olympic, she is still an Olympic athlete, she wasn't, but this, I'm talking about when she won the Olympic medal. She won her first World Cup. Nikki Stone. She's an Olympic gold medalist. Second World Cup skiing competition, and this is when she was in Japan. So they're getting ready to go. They're lining up to take their jump. I mean, just a huge skiing jump. Fogged over. It's completely fogged over. She's like, what? So this was her first competition, and she's asking everybody else. She's looking around like, is this are we postponing or? Nope. We're going to go ahead and do it. Really? So what do we do? And the one she was talking to said, don't worry about it. Just get there, start down, you'll know, you'll see it. Just start, and you'll see it. Really? Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you see it? Can you see her on the, I mean, I stand here, this kills Rebecca. She is constantly, would you please back away from the edge of the stage? So can you imagine someone at the tip of this, about to go down this huge, long ski slope and not being able to see into the mist? She did it anyway. She did it anyway. She said it was terrifying, the most terrifying, worthwhile experience she's ever taken. And she won the competition. She won the competition. So my point is this. Fear. We don't want to go off into the mist. We don't want to go off into the darkness. We don't want to go off into the void. We don't know what that is. Let me ask you something. This is about trusting. So we're afraid that there's nothing good in the mist. How many of you, this is a real question, how many of you have read a Grimm's fairy tale? How many of you read a fairy tale? Or heard about it, whatever, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, Hansel and Gretel? There's always something scary out there, right? Something scary in the forest, something scary in the woods, something under the bed, right? So we know not to go into the dark. But that's what we have to do because spirit is light. We keep talking about spirit is going to light up the dark. You don't need to ever be afraid of the dark. Spirit always lights up the dark, but not until you get there. Not going to light it up until you get there, until you surrender and say that's where you're going. The light will shine on you. Believe it. You don't have to believe me. We're going to talk a little bit further about how you know. So to live a life of freedom and flow, we have to surrender. We have to get to this place where the holy seed is. There is a holy seed in the stumps at the place of surrender. So what we're going to do, in order to learn how to surrender, if what I've just said resonates and you understand the power of surrender, if you want to surrender and learn how to do it, the first thing you have to do is build faith. And this is something I talk about every single Sunday. Pray and meditate. The reason for praying and meditating is so that you know what the voice of God sounds like to you or looks like. It doesn't always come with a voice. Sometimes people see things. They get an image of something, a bird flying by, any kind of a message. It doesn't have to be God. I talk to God, just like I'm talking to you. But that's me. That's my relationship, because that's what I want. What do you want? How do you talk to God? How do you know God's talking back to you? You know when you pray and meditate. When you pray and meditate, you get comfortable with what God, who God, how God shows up for you. So, first thing I'm going to do is take some baby steps. And you've probably done some things, but I'm asking you, it's not just about the baby steps, it's about consistent baby steps. Don't just do it one time. Continue to do these baby steps. Try it if you want to just put there once a week, I'm going to do this, once a week, I'm going to do that, whatever it is. So here's the thing. That's why I've got this baby here. He's in a fork in the road. I don't know which way to go. I think if you go down this way he's heading, he's going to be lost, because it looks like it's got a whole bunch of bushes down there. So here's the question. You get to a fork in the road, and you don't know where to go. It's as simple as this. Should I buy this or not? Just do something small. Don't get big. Should I buy it or not? Yes or no? And go with it. See what happens. Should I take this street or that street? See what God says and do that. Just follow it. God said already, test me in this. You don't have to take the Bible's word, my word, or anybody's word. God always talks about, test me in this and see if I will not show up like I say I will. So do your own test. Do and see if God will show up. Build your knowing. Each yes that you do and understand where it goes is a surrender. Every time you ask God for something and then you say yes to the answer, that's a surrender. And you will see how your life flows when you do. How great life is. It is meant to be lived in flow with God, being your mentor, guiding you the entire way. You can just let it be easy. The question is not whether or not God will show up. That's not the question. God always shows up. The question is, will you let it? Will you let it? Will you let God guide you? That's the question. Okay? So, let it be easy. Just let it be easy. And just surrender to God. And live a life of ease and grace. Namaste.